Dean of the College of Liberal Arts, who will introduce our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Ensfinken, and congratulations to today's Cal Poly proud graduates. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Brian Nosek, today's keynote speaker. 18 years ago, Dr. Nosek sat where you are sitting today as a December graduate from Cal Poly. He graduated that day with a degree in psychology and 2 minors, one in women and gender studies and one in computer science. His subsequent achievements are a testament to the value of interdisciplinary studies, to the quality of a Cal Poly education, and of course, especially to his own work ethic and abilities. One special aspect of Brian being the keynote speaker today is that his father is on the stand with him, Stan Nosek. And I'm sure Brian would credit at least some of his work ethic and abilities to his father. Dr. Nosek's achievements should be inspirational for each of you because they were built on the foundation of a Cal Poly education and degree. With his diploma in hand, Dr. Nosek went to Yale University, where he received a doctorate in psychology in 2002. He immediately began a faculty career at the University of Virginia, and in the 11 years since then, he has published more than 100 academic papers, mostly in the area of social cognition. Already at a very young age, he is one of the most cited psychologists in the world, particularly in the area of unconscious or implicit bias. Thoughts and feelings, often related to race, gender, age, and other visible characteristics like that although they're outside our normal awareness, they still influence the decisions that we make in our everyday lives, as well as our everyday behavior. But Dr. Nosek is not just a pioneering researcher, he is also a builder. In collaboration with 2 other colleagues, he created a major nonprofit organization to share information and advance understanding about implicit bias and its effects. More recently, Dr. Nosek was central in the creation of the Center for Open Science and serves as its current president. The Center for Open Science is dedicated to developing tools for researchers, for the sharing of research data, and for information related to the reproducibility of important research findings. I know you may not appreciate the full importance of this at your young stages in your careers, but believe me, this was a monumental effort and monumental development. So please join me in welcoming to the podium Dr. Brian Nosek.
When I was invited to give this address, I thought back to the commencement speech at my graduation here in 1995. In the process of thinking back, I recalled that I could not recall anything about the speech. I mean, who actually remembers the guy that you've never heard of who gives the talk at graduation? So I did the obvious and I looked to you two to determine what makes a moment like this memorable. From my 5 minutes of research, I determined that memorability at a public gathering is highest if I announce the justification for war with another nation, if I twerk with a teddy bear, or if I am Maya Angelou. I am not Maya Angelou. I could not find my teddy bear. So, I think we can all agree that we've had enough of those polite Canadians. Most Americans think Canada is a state anyway, so it's high time we make it one. I married a Canadian, and I can tell you that the whole polite thing ends real quick when you get distracted leaving the mall and forget the kids. It doesn't even matter if you have a really good excuse. Okay, memorable, check. Next, I discovered from my extensive research that I should say something useful. Wisdom is the go-to item for graduation, but I don't do wisdom. I do, however, have some shared experience, some common ground with which we can establish some rapport. For example, as Dean Epperson mentioned, I also graduated from Cal Poly at the fall commencement instead of spring. So we're both a bit odd. Something abnormal had to happen in order for our academic journey to wind up here. Perhaps, for example, you took a ton of extra classes each quarter and graduated early. Anyone? Nerds. Or perhaps one quarter you did that, skip class, just show up for the final experiment. How'd that work out? Or maybe you have a good reason, like you simultaneously worked for a living in order to pay your way through school. Hats off to that. Or maybe you were like me, and in 1994, during your 4th year of your computer engineering degree, you surveyed the employment landscape and thought to yourself, this new internet thing's going nowhere. I'm going to switch majors to psychology. Like I said, I don't do wisdom. And this prompts another way that we are a bit odd. We are the liberal arts and architecture and environmental design groups in a school where engineering tends to dominate. We endured our share of indignities, the mechanical engineers giving us wedgies, the electrical engineers shoving us in lockers. But there's something wonderful about getting a degree in the Cal Poly culture. There are so many problems in the world, and so many people appear content to just talk about those problems. Those conversations invariably end with someone saying, somebody should do something. In my experience, Cal Poly grads are the do-somethings. All of the things that I consider successes in my career are traceable to Cal Poly's learned by doing philosophy. To me, that philosophy means 2 things. For one, learn by doing promotes an action orientation. It isn't learn by talking or learn by thinking. When a problem is identified, we're trying to do something. Second, learn by doing is not the same as Nike's just do it. Learn by doing means that each action is responsive to what actually happens. One action is assumed to be an opportunity to learn and improve for the next action. Among people in liberal arts occupations, there are far too few do-somethings. You architects are already very practical. We don't do that easily. If Cal Poly philosophy made an impression on you as it did on me, you will be the one at the end of that circular conversation meeting who finally says, how about we try something? If it doesn't work, we'll try something else. Then the something might actually get done. In addition to this shared experience that has made us very close friends in these passionate 5 minutes, I have extra experience since I graduated that day when old what's-his-name said something or other. Those extra 18 years have helped me appreciate what it's like to sit in other parts of the room on this day. As a faculty member at the University of Virginia, I've sat on a stage like this 10 times. And from these chairs, the experience of pride is a slightly different one than the experience of pride from out there. From here, we're faced with the evidence that we have helped this institution meet its mission. Your achievement is the reason that we're here. Also, it can feel a lot like being at a wedding of a favorite couple. A fun event for sure, but the real excitement is that the event marks a transition to a whole life yet to come. A future life shaped by the experience had here. And those seats. Now, as a father of 4- and 7-year-old daughters, we found them. Spouse still not polite. Now I have moments in daily life that anticipate the experience of sitting there and watching them here. It makes me think of a day when my daughter Haven was struggling as she worked through something that made her feel ashamed and weak. While she was telling me about the struggle, I said, Haven, I'm proud of you. And she burst into tears and said, but why are you proud of me? I can only think to say, I'm proud of you because you're you. Her and my other daughter, Joni's struggles and achievements often mean more to me than they do to them. Even the most ordinary events can produce an intense experience of pride when done by one's progeny. That's right, my daughter peed in the potty. Photo to Facebook. Right there, that pee. My daughter's pee. Hooah! And now look at you. Most of you made it through Cal Poly peeing in the potty the whole time. Most of you. Construction management guys. And along the way, you earned a degree. Some struggle, but lots of achievement. Even if it feels a bit ordinary to you, it doesn't from out there. Lots of people graduate, but today you did. You don't need to remember this speech. We don't even have to remain friends, although it pains me to think that might happen. You just need to know one thing that I think and hope that you know already. We are proud of you because you're you. Congratulations.